Welcome to this explainer. Imagine if all the water on Earth just suddenly vanished today. Pretty terrifying to think about, right? Well, today we're exploring the most mysterious and impactful waterway in human history. We're going on a journey down the river that literally birthed human civilization right out of the sand. We are, of course, talking about the mighty Nile.
The ancient historian Herodotus actually called Egypt the gift of the Nile. And honestly, he hit the nail on the head. Over 95% of Egypt is just harsh, unforgiving desert. I mean, without the single flowing river, ancient humanity's greatest empire over the last 10,000 years, it would literally never have existed.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to cover the river of life, secrets and ancient power, the ecosystem and deadly wildlife, the Aswan Dam effect, the looming water war, and finally, a threatened future.
Section 1. The River of Life. So every single year, immense floods would sweep through and leave behind what was called Kemet, or Black Earth. This was absolutely crucial because it allowed a massive empire to actually grow crops right in the middle of a barren desert.
To put this river into perspective, it is 6,650 kilometers long. That epic journey spans across 11 different African nations before it finally empties out into the Mediterranean Sea. It's just a massive, massive scale.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that the Nile is actually a marriage of two main rivers beautifully coming together. You've got the White Nile emerging from Lake Victoria in Uganda, and the Blue Nile coming out of Lake Tana in Ethiopia. And it's actually the Blue Nile that provides 85% of the water and that all-important silt. They finally meet up and merge in Khartoum, Sudan.
Moving on to Section 2, Secrets and Ancient Power. Because, this waterway harbors some profound mysteries and geographical anomalies that have completely baffled everyone, from ancient pharaohs and Roman emperors right up to today's top scientists.
And arguably the biggest mystery of all, where does it actually begin? It is honestly mind-blowing that even now, in the 21st century, with all our satellites and advanced mapping tech, the exact origin point of this great river is still heavily debated. Seriously, a British and New Zealand team claimed a new origin discovery in 2006, and then in 2022, a rival team stepped up and claimed a completely different location. Oh, and geologically speaking, during the mind-bending Messinian salinity crisis about 5.5 million years ago, the Mediterranean and the entire Nile actually completely dried up into an arid canyon. Crazy, right?
The river is incredibly deep, too. We're talking 26 meters deep on average. That is equivalent to an 8-story building. Down in all that mud, it's hiding undiscovered ancient temples and treasures. Plus, as a quick aside, it famously defies the usual geographical norm by uniquely flowing south to north.
Okay, Section 3, Ecosystem and Deadly Wildlife. Let's shift our focus to the raw, untamed biological power of the river's ecosystem.
Apex predators absolutely rule here, completely dictating everyday life on the water. You've got terrifying 6-meter-long, 1,000-kilogram Nile crocodiles, which the ancient Egyptians both feared and actually worshipped as the deity Sobek. Then there are hippos, hitting speeds of 30 kilometers an hour, effortlessly flipping boats, making them Africa's deadliest large mammal. And don't even get me started on the massive Nile perch.
Bringing things into the modern era, here is Section 4, the Aswan Dam effect. This marks the defining moment in 1970 when humanity finally attempted to tame this colossal force. The construction of the Aswan High Dam was an absolute engineering triumph. I mean, it controls floods and generates 40% of Egypt's electricity. But it came with severe, ongoing ecological consequences. It literally forced UNESCO to relocate the entire Abu Simbel temple complex just to save it from flooding. Even worse, the dam traps all that vital black silt, so now the delta is physically shrinking into the sea and farmers are forced to rely heavily on chemical fertilizers.
This brings us to a highly serious topic. Section 5, the looming water war. Controlling the river's flow has sparked one of the planet's most urgent, high-stakes geopolitical crises today.
So the crucial point is that the focal point of all these modern tensions is the GERD, or the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. This is the massive 6,450-megawatt hydroelectric dam built by Ethiopia right on the Blue Nile.
The stakes here are incredibly high for all three nations. For Ethiopia, this dam is a symbol of national renaissance. It's absolutely vital for economic development and lifting millions from poverty. But just downstream, Egypt and Sudan view any restricted water flow as a literal existential threat that could mean severe water scarcity for over 100 million citizens. It's gotten so tense that there have been military threats exchanged, and the African Union is constantly having to mediate the situation.
Finally, we arrive at Section 6, a threatened future. Because beyond human conflict, there is a broader, overarching ticking clock threatening the entire river basin, the global climate crisis.
Let's walk through how this chain reaction is going to play out. Right now, we're seeing rising temperatures all across Africa. In the near future, this heat will rapidly melt the Ethiopian mountain snow, which is actually going to cause severe initial flooding. But in the long term, once that snow completely vanishes, we're looking at a catastrophic water depletion across the whole system. To put a chilling number on that, the UN predicts that the Nile's flow could drop by a staggering 50% by the year 2050. That is half the river just gone. This threatens starvation for roughly 300 million people, and as the delta erodes, historic coastal cities like Alexandria could literally sink.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we risk losing. It's not just water, it's a vibrant living culture. Sudan is home to over 200 ancient pyramids, which is actually more than Egypt has. This river is the birthplace of papyrus, the very first paper, and the first sundial. And even today, millions of people still gather on traditional felucca boats in Cairo to connect with the water.
For 10 millennia, the Nile was humanity's protector, providing life in a barren wasteland. Now the tables have turned, and it desperately needs our protection. So it leaves us with this one powerful thought to reflect on. Will the river that birthed human civilization actually survive modern humanity? Thanks for joining us for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.